Hello, my name is Chris, and today I'd like to talk about dealing with traumatic events without relapsing. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about what constitutes a traumatic event. I'm sure that what is traumatic for me may not be traumatic for you, and vice versa. We all sort of have our own ideas and our own definitions of what a traumatic event is. What I will say is that if you are going through something traumatic right now, then I am very sorry to hear that. All of my love and all of my good thoughts are going your way. I do know from my own past experience that when traumatic things do happen, when things bring us a lot of emotional pain, I think that's a good way to describe it. When it brings us a lot of emotional pain, when those things do happen, it can bring us close to feeling or thinking about a relapse. This past Monday marked the 1-year anniversary of my nan passing away. Now, for many years I was very close to my nan. She helped bring me up. She was like a second mother to me. So when she passed away, it was very upsetting. Not long before that, my granddad also passed away. And not long before my granddad passed away, one of my very good friends passed away. So in this period of maybe 5-6 months when all these people who were close to me passed away, there were times when I felt like relapsing. It's like the body or the brain reverts to that default setting that we developed in active addiction. The default setting of, I feel so bad right now, I just want to change the way that I feel, and I don't care if changing the way I feel means poisoning myself with a cigarette or alcohol or drugs or whatever it may be. It's like we go back to that default setting of just wanting to change the way that we feel, except it's 4 times as powerful and 4 times as intense, because the bad feelings that we have, the emotional pain that we have, is 4 times as powerful and intense as it would be if, say, we just had a bad day at work. Plus, on top of that, there is the feeling of, what's the point? In that moment, it feels like, we may have lost somebody, or we've been involved in a terrible accident, or we've been subject to a crime. This thing happens and it's like, well, life is never going to have any meaning or joy ever again. So what is the point in denying myself, this cigarette or this alcohol or these drugs? There is a point. And the point is that even though it feels, in the depths, in the thick of the event, even though it feels as though life may never have meaning or joy again, it will. I'm not saying that we get over what's happened to us or what's happened to people we love. But human beings are remarkable creatures. Our minds and our hearts are remarkable things. They allow us to never forget, to still have the memories, but to adjust and adapt and to go on and to find meaning and to find joy again. Yet if we relapse, what we're doing is we're delaying that joy. We're delaying, how long it's going to take, because we end up hating ourselves for having this relapse. We get all the usual guilt and shame and remorse that come from any standard typical relapse, added to all this emotional pain and all these bad feelings caused by the event itself. Plus, we start to then beat ourselves up because, oh my goodness, all that hard work that I did to quit has now been flushed down the toilet. And it's like we decide that, look, we're going to quit again, so now we've got to go through all that hard work again. So it makes more sense that if we are, going through this emotional pain, we don't make it worse on ourselves by relapsing. That we give ourselves the best fighting chance of eventually finding some level of comfort, peace, even joy, once we've moved into the next stage. And the worst part about it is that we do all this, we put ourselves through all this torture of the relapse because we want this cigarette or this alcohol or these drugs or whatever to do something for us which it just can't do, which is to take away the pain. And quite often we turn to these addictive substances because we just want them to take the pain away, and they can't. I remember last summer when my friend Dave passed away. It was very sudden and very unexpected. He took all of us by surprise. And the day that I was told, in fact the moment I was told, I was so shocked and so just didn't know what to say. And I felt in that moment like I could just have a cigarette. I didn't necessarily want to smoke. I just wanted the feeling that a cigarette would give me of calming my nerves. Now, of course, we all know by now that a cigarette will not calm our nerves. Nicotine is a stimulant. So a cigarette doesn't calm our nerves, it puts our nerves on edge and makes things 10 times worse. But that's how I felt. Although I know that if I then, turned to someone and taken a cigarette from them and smoked it, it wouldn't have taken away the shock, the surprise, the sadness or the upset. I would still have felt every bit as bad, except now I'd feel, even worse because I'd be choking and poisoning myself on this cigarette. All the while, my friend Dave would be up there, looking down at me from whatever concept of heaven you happen to believe in, and he'd be looking at me like, "You idiot, I die, and you use my memory as an excuse to poison yourself? Well, thanks a lot, Chris. That's how much I mean to you, obviously." Do you know what I mean? Like, it would be disrespectful to use that thing as an excuse to harm myself. Which, let's be honest, smoking and drinking and drugs, for those of us who are addicted to them, is harming ourselves. And I have more respect for their memory than that. I know that, my friend and my grandparents, I trust that they love me. And because they love me, they want me to be healthy and happy, and well. Those people in my life don't want to be the reason why I am choking and poisoning myself. But I can make them the reason why I grow stronger and stay smoke-free and sober and all that good stuff. Like, look Dave, look Nan, I'm making you proud here. Besides, when I say this now, I say it with love and kindness. Having a relapse, smoking or drinking or taking drugs again, isn't going to change what's happened. I think, back when I drank alcohol, I must have drank every drink under the sun. I've yet to find a single drink that can bring, people back from the dead. I've yet to find a single cigarette that can make things that have happened unhappen. Sounds quite harsh when I hear those words coming out of my head, out of my mouth even, but you know what I mean, right? What's happened isn't going to change because we relapse. All we're going to do is make ourselves feel worse about the situation. So like I said, if the traumatic event is that somebody has passed away, we can use them not as the reason for the relapse, but as a reason to keep going and to keep to keep on our journey, to make those people proud. But of course, I appreciate that traumatic events aren't always about people passing away. There might be, things where we have had, harm done to us. Like we've been in a bad accident, we've been in a hit and run accident, or we've been the victim of an attack or a crime. I hope if you're watching that hasn't happened to you. But let's talk about it. If it has, then okay, let's say we've been subject to some kind of crime. We've already been put in emotional pain by the person who harmed us or wronged us. Our lives have already been impacted by this criminal in a way that we couldn't control. But now we do have some control over whether we're going to let them impact our lives even further. We are not going to give this person the power to make us relapse. We are not going to give that person the power to impact our life any further. We have control over this, and we're not going to let them do it. Instead, we are going to stay strong, and we are going to get through this. And we don't necessarily have to get through it alone. Over on Facebook, we have the new Finding Freedom group where people have been coming together. We've all been supporting each other along our journey. We would very much love it if you will come and join us. The link is facebook.com/group/findingfreedom1. I'll also put the link down in the description below. On the subject of relapse, even though I'm talking today about I avoided relapsing when people passed away and I went through traumatic events, I didn't get to be 2 years smoke free and 6 years sober without first relapsing before that happened. So this week on Patreon, the exclusive bonus video that I'm going to share with you is going to be me just sharing with you my experiences of relapsing and why actually going through with the relapse never quite works out or quite gives us what we wanted from it in the first place. With all that being said, I hope this video has been helpful or just comforting to you in some way. For more weekly videos like this one, please do consider subscribing. I wish you a safe and peaceful week, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.